And just like that, season 3, episode 6, the one that I'm going to name the Get Out of Jail Free card. It literally stopped me in my tracks last night. I have not slept. Okay, I got 3 hours of sleep, hence the bouffant, half-baked makeup. I'm exhausted, but I'm here. I'm recording, and this one was something different. So let's get into it. So for all my new subs, if you're watching this for the first time, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on how I do things. I normally group the actual storylines together versus going the way it's done episodically in the show where they cut into different characters and stuff like that. I can't do it like that way. I pick a character and then I just flow through the actual scenes that I can recall. This is not scripted. This is all from my memory. So sometimes I'm not looking at the camera because I'm legitimately rolling in my mind the scenes that I can remember. Will it be 100% accurate? Probably not, especially since I normally take 2 days to watch it. I would say at least 50,000 times, which is why I strongly believe I'm making this number one on HBO. I've had a very short time to get all this in together. So I cut 50,000 to about 25,000 times, give or take, since last night. So let's go through the honorable mentions. First up, we're going to have Samantha 2.0, Seema. So in short, Cena is a broke bitch. That's it. That's our story for this episode. How? No clue. Where her money go? No clue. Do they explain it? Absolutely not. I just know that it's a very stark difference between what we were shown of her in the beginning in season 1, where she seems to have been, and I'm going to quote her own words, a baller, to now all of a sudden she is unable to make the payments, which what I thought was her vehicle, her Mercedes, her barf brown Mercedes, was a leased car that was leased by the company, which again I thought she shared with, maybe not as equal partners, but with someone else that was with her that sold his shares to Ryan Serhant from the $1 Million Listing franchise, who has not come back. And I just would like to have some sort of structure here. Can someone from this type of understanding and corporate structure, if she had shares in this company and he purchased the company, where did her shares go? Why is this woman behaving as if she's got nothing? Now, she's in her car or leased vehicle telling her driver, Rocco, that she is unable to sustain him and the vehicle since it was leased by something Patel, which her name was on the board, and now she has to give it up. So you see her going through this, I don't know, swan song goodbye to her driver, and she tells him that once Patel Group gets up and running, she's going to come and get him. What is he, a dog? What are you going to play fetch? What are you putting him in a cage? I don't understand this guy is going to get another job, right? I don't understand what's happening here. So suddenly she tells him that take the car in to the leasing office, I guess, and make sure that her vanity license plates are removed. So she's not even taking that, which is understandable. And he starts to get out of the car, I guess, to let her out like he would a driver, a gentleman, a chauffeur. And she says, no, don't. It'll be easier this way. Okay. So she gets out of the car and she's walking. And by the way, a lot of you have mentioned to me that she's always wearing either browns or something in the taupe family or something. And I realized it just suddenly. You're right. She's always in that color palette. I didn't really pay attention too much because, I'm so blinded by the other lack of fashion on the show. It's not really that it's not ugly. It's very classy. Most of her outfits. I think it's a lot classier than what the hell they do with everybody else on that show. More on that later. So she gets out of her car, very dramatic, and you just see her walking. So the leased car is gone, which was she was very prideful to have with her vanity plates and her driver, Rocco. I think she goes on Rocco. That's done. Next up, you see her walking into, I guess, one of the apartments that she's going to do a showing for Ding Dong number 3, Miranda. Now, this is going to intertwine between those two storylines because I'm just doing honorable mentions right now, and then we're going to get into the 3 Ding Dongs. So she's showing Miranda a listing for a rental because I guess finally Miranda needs a place to stay other than Airbnb. And apparently she can afford to buy something. So to be clear, who we thought had money, which is Seema, doesn't, or at least she's claiming she doesn't. And then who we thought and could not understand why she cannot afford to be somewhere other than Airbnb or Carrie's house has money. So we live in bizarre world and everything is backwards. What I can't understand about Seema is that at the very minimum, she either rented a lot of the stuff that she claims to own. Didn't she like have an obsession with Birkin bags or something like that? Aren't those things like a cajillion dollars or something? Like something outrageously stupid and too expensive for any normal human being? I mean, if you're not putting that much into the bag, why do you need a bag that costs that much? I'm just saying. Like, I mean, and because I'm not a bag person, right? Like, unless it legitimately says Birkin bag, I'm not going to know a difference between this and another label. I just won't. You know, I will notice the color. I will notice like maybe the shape, but I'm not going to go and be like, oh, that's a Birkin bag and that's a bit. No, that's not me. But it doesn't mean that other people don't know that. I just have a different type of things that I notice, right? So that's fine. But, and doesn't she live on Fifth Avenue? What? Is that leased from Patel Group or the other company too? Is she going to be homeless? I would not be surprised if they show her moving back in with her parents. I just want to know where they're going with the storyline. Like, I know that there's something coming. There's got to be an explanation. Shouldn't she be sitting down with a financial consultant to help her other than the fake bank loan officer from last week? Shouldn't someone be and ask her questions? Girl, where you might be at? She's been doing this for 20 years. What, you've been living on the edge? I don't know. I just think that they're peppering in these stories just to like taste or give us a taste of something, but I don't like the taste of it. So she's showing Miranda this potential place that Miranda may want to stay. They're going back and forth about making an offer on the apartment, and Miranda refuses to purchase it above asking, which is $150,000 above asking. And of course, Seema is anxious because, you know, she wants to make sales. She needs to get her Patel Group up and running. She needs to go get Rocco. She needs to go get a car, you know. So, okay. So Miranda doesn't want to make the offer above 150,000 because she doesn't believe in that. It's almost like she's not understanding how real estate works, being that she's been in New York for a long time. I've seen her now almost purchase 3 places. The first one in Sex and the City, the condo, or I think it was a condo. The second one that I know was either a condo that she met, you know, everybody and had her Brady child there. And then she moved to Brooklyn and bought that house. So now this will be 4. So what? So Seema's anxious because she's trying to explain to her that if she doesn't do this, she's going to lose this. And Seema doesn't want to walk around, you know, looking for apartments for anyone. She wants to be driven around, and she's walking around her high heels. Sure, I get it. So the next scene you have with Seema specifically, because Miranda is not going to take this apartment, they're at the Anthony's. I guess this is now where they're going to convene and eat now. This is the official eating restaurant replacement for every other place that they were before. I don't know, I guess. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you have a dedicated table to the 4 people and they're always going to be on the show and Anthony's going to be with Loaf Boy for the rest of his life, apparently. Sure. I mean, I don't know what other than bread that he, or I don't know. They don't really tell us. I just know that there's a whole lot of loaves going on there, and not all of them are for sale. So, you have Charlotte, Miranda, and Carrie sitting, and then Seema comes in and tells Miranda that she has found her a second location for her to rent. And then when I get into the Ding Dong Miranda Chronicles, you'll explain why her answer was so ridiculous. Okay. She rejects that one as well. And we're left with Seema running around again, I guess, trying to find an apartment for Miranda. Because the only other scene that we have with Seema is at a funeral where she's limping, literally, in her heels, because the place of the funeral is in Newark, I presume, New Jersey, and she had to take the PATH train in because, again, she doesn't have her car and she doesn't have a driver. So she took a PATH train in her 40-inch heels, which I don't know if anybody's going to agree with me on this, but have you been on a train in New York at any time of the day? You don't wear heels. You just don't. Unless you want to get trampled. You just don't. Do you understand how intricate, even the PATH train, which is not the New York City subway train, do you know how crazy that gets? You gotta do like Olympic style hurdling, jumping over things. Like, that is no joke. I mean, I've seen people with heels with like the thick heels, you know. So she can't walk. She's in pain. She's going into the funeral home, and Carrie asks her, how is it going? And she says, if there's an open casket in there, just throw me in. Okay. How do we do that? Because I don't know what I'm expecting when I see this funeral. So that's it. Seema's on fake influencer, broke baller bitch ride. So that was honorable mention number 1. Okay. Anthony, honorable mention number 2. There's something going on. He's still running his bread boy, pot boy mail stand. And Loaf Boy, his man's, is still at the front counter taking orders of loaf for his loaf. And all you see is a shot of everything but the bread. There is loaf, not the kind that I would want to take to sit at a table and eat. Just my preference, I'm just saying. So Anthony, who requested Bread Boy to be front and center, frontage and center, is looking at people looking at his mans and saying, you know, his eyes are up here. But yeah, but do you realize that there's a whole lot of other things going down there? And you asked him to do this? And so he's serving the girls his bread loaf. I mean, Anthony is just, allowing the girls to eat the bread loaf there. The next scene you have with Anthony, he's at the funeral. And I have to tell you, Anthony is a breath of fresh air. I really want him to be more front and center. They can literally swap out Seema or swap out LTW and give more time to Anthony. And I would be happy because he is legitimately funny. Like when he speaks, he has that sarcastic tone. Like I keep referring to this. He's the Karen Walker needed in this show. So they're at the funeral, standing outside the theater for this funeral. And he looks at Seema and he's like, what is going on with you? And he makes this funny retort. Like, You look ridiculous, limping. And then he sees Carrie and Aiden coming by, and oh, dear Lord. So I guess Aiden didn't have time to bring proper clothing for his 1 week stay, which we'll get into. And I understand that everybody's going to be dressed to come to a funeral. So he couldn't find the proper outfit to wear to the funeral at the Big and Tall store because there is no longer a Big and Tall store where he would normally go. So he's wearing, I don't know, high waters and what I would be like, I'm staying home. It's all or nothing. Don't go out like that. Why you put your mans like that? Does he really need to come to this funeral? He barely knows this person. Like, dude, no, stop. And are you honestly, this is New York City. There's a gajillion places to buy things. And that is what they came up with. Utterly ridiculous. And Anthony points it out. He goes, what is going on? What is happening? Why? So, yeah, that's Anthony. Great storyline. I really wish they just push him forefront. He deserves the screen time. He's funny. He makes me laugh. So, those be the honorable mentions. We're going to add an extra ding-dong to this because the main ding-dongs are Miranda, Charlotte, and Carrie. But now, I'm going to add LTW to this. She won't be an honorable mention today. She actually had some screen time. So, let's hear it for she's risen from honorable mention to an official ding-dong. Next up, ding-dong number 4, LTW. Wait for it. Ding-dong number 4, LTW. Here we go. I am going to start off by saying that this woman who's married to Herbert, her husband, who, for all intents and purposes, they kind of show them as being loving, sexually active. And yes, in relationships, you do get bored, right? We all know this. I hope it's no surprise to anyone. If it is, spoiler alert, you will get bored, okay? She is so thirsty for her male editor. They're setting this up that something's going to happen. We see LTW with the editor, Marion, editing her $1,000 journey year video that I don't even know what it's about anymore. I don't care. And she's just like, oh my God, exactly what I was thinking of. It's like, you're in my mind, you're in my brain. I'm like, girl, relax. It's an edit. And since I edit my own videos, I promise you, I don't get off that way. All right? And she's just throwing compliments after compliments. And he's like, yeah, you know, great, thank you. And oh my God, can I get that in writing? And I'm like, get what in writing? What is happening here? Okay? Y'all need to calm the fuck down. Okay? Either you get it on or get off this train. It's very annoying. Okay. She is so excited about his editing skills that someone keeps calling her. I think it's the campaign manager to her husband, keeps annoying her. So then she decides to put her phone on silent so she can focus more on, the editing. So she has the phone on silence, and as she's practically giving him, I don't want to be disgusting, but she might as well just leap on top of him at this point. He says something to the effect of, my wife. Then she coyly says, oh, I didn't know you were married. I could see her face literally drop. You realize you're still married, right? He's allowed to be married. And He says, yeah, I don't like to mix personal with business. I've been married. By the way, I know a lot of married people. People are still getting married, despite protests of mine. And shouldn't you be wearing a wedding ring? And is it personal? Because when you're wearing a wedding ring, doesn't that mean something to others that view the ring on your finger? I don't understand the reference of mixing personal life with business. Isn't that part of your repertoire? He knows she's married. I would presume other people in the office say, hey, isn't there paperwork that needs to be involved when you fill this stuff out to get for a job, single, married, divorced, thank God it's over box? Something? I don't know. I just found that whole her pretending or not realizing he's married has never come up. And this is the way that it comes up. And that, as she finds out he's married, Herbert comes in and she's like, she's standing up and I'm going to tell you what is happening. What is happening to her? But her outfit. But they changed her wig. It looks good. Thank God. But they're still dressing her up in, I don't know, garment bags. That's all I can think of. And then they put in like, what is it, green screen clothing on her. Because none of this is real. It's ridiculous. So Herbert comes in and he looks a little tense. She jumps up. She looks a lot of guilty. And she goes, oh my God, in office presence. Honey, what are you doing here? And he's like, I've been trying to reach you. And she says, this is Marion. Marion looks at her like, what's happening? Like, trust me, you know what's happening. You know that I know that you know that I know that you've been flirting just as much as she has. So stop the bullshit, Marion, married. And Herbert asks, they introduce each other and, he's not really focused on, big and tall. He asks for him to leave. He leaves. He claims to his wife, I've been trying to reach you. She says, yes, I put my phone on silence because of the campaign manager that's been harassing her. And he says, I really don't want to tell you any of this. And then he proceeds to tell her that her father, who we've only seen once on the show, and I believe it was last episode, who was played by Billy D. Williams, had a stroke. She's like, oh, okay, I'll go to the hospital. And she's like, no, honey, he's gone. And she breaks down, rightfully so, not realizing that she had her phone off and everybody's been trying to reach her. The next scene you have is her speaking to Charlotte, explaining what happened. And, she's very emotional. And then the next scene is her getting an email invite. And I'm going to finish the scene. From the, I think, production manager from the theater that her father was working on or something in Newark. Okay. Inviting her to her own father's funeral. Now, here's the thing what I so respectfully say. I don't know any of these people. I don't really have the same impact on any of this that's happening that I would if it was Harry that passed away, if it was when Big passed away. And hi, I'm still waiting for Stanford's goodbye officially. Don't tell me he's in a freaking monk in a monastery. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm sick of that shit. Stupid freaking storyline. Give that man respect. He was a very high honorable mention cast member of that show. Yet, I'm supposed to give a furry rest behind. Oh, what the hell's going on here? We saw her father once. All of a sudden, now she's screaming about some woman, some theater, some crap. And I'm like, where are we going with this? This could be the catalyst that pushes us over the edge and then she has an affair with Marion Mary. I don't know. I don't know. And then, as she's upset with this woman that has taken over the funeral arrangements for her father, hello, again, sure, I would care if I knew who these people were. The next scene you see her is going into the restaurant meeting said funeral arrangement maker, and they're going at it, and she sits down and she says to LTW, and I wish I remember her name, the character, nice bag. And someone tell me in the comments, it's a lime green bag. I couldn't tell the label. But the woman keeps insisting to show her bag, which is a Michael Kors bag. Now, that her father, LTW's father, gifted to her. So I'm going to presume that this woman was not just a friend. And she's either LTW knows this, or she's trying to make it clearer at some point that that's what happened. Because she's very emotional. She's very much into this Michael Kors bag, who I don't know if he paid to be on this show, which could be another paid sponsor, but is a name drop. And she's telling LTW that she made the funeral arrangements because LTW didn't have time to be there for her dad. And so I just feel that this woman knows way too much about her dad and is very insistent that she was the one that did everything and she spent the last 20 good years of her life with him. So are you with him? Were you with him? Do you have a secret love child? What is happening here? And I'm going to ask, why should we care? Where is this leading up to? So, LTW gets offended, and then she calms down and she says that she wants something tasteful, nothing outrageous. And this woman is just going on because I guess she's from a theater background, and that's it. The next scene you have them is LTW coming out of her apartment, walking to the funeral, to the limousine, which I found very interesting that Herbert was not with her walking to the limousine that she was sitting in. Her daughter went with her, and Herbert went with his mom. I don't know why that was odd to me, because he should have gone with LTW to the limo, and then the kids go with the grandmother, right? But who am I? I'm just watching the show, trying to make sense of all of it. So the next thing you have is that the woman, who I'm going to call the affair. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry, I can't. The producer. Let's call her the producer until I can remember her name. The producer has decided to make the funeral in the theater in Newark, New Jersey, where he, I think, owned and he produced many different plays. And I only got this because it's the only thing I can remember at this moment. And here we go again. LTW walks in. There's an urn on the stage with beautiful bouquets, and the producer comes up and tells her, "Is everything looks good?" And she says yes. And then the producer pulls out a playbill and she says, "Let me get my playbill from my Michael Kors bag." I'm like, what the hell is going on here? What is happening with this? What did you take his ashes and put it in the Michael Kors bag? Is that what's happening? This is now the second time in this freaking show that I got to hear another label about Michael freaking Kors. I have no clue. I just know that when they do something like this, it annoys the crap out of me. It really, truly does. Can we just, this is what I said before. It's not about the people anymore. It's about the freaking fashion, the labels, the sponsorships. Give it up, guys. For real. Whatever. See, now I'm getting annoyed. Subscribe. So, listen. Everybody starts coming in from the outside, which is, the funeral parade. Anthony, Bread Boy, Seema, Miranda, Carrie, the big and tall stored Aiden, and Herbert and his mother. And they're all sitting down, and it's a show, not a like an off-Broadway show for the funeral for LTW's dad. Again, I have no impact on this entire scene. It really doesn't do anything for me. Everybody's doing some sort of rendition of something, and I'm supposed to understand. I'm not understanding. I mean, it's kind of like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's try this again. I don't really give a shit. LTW tries to get up. She goes to stage. She tries to do her eulogy, and now she can't. Herbert puts his arm around her, and he helps her through the eulogy, which to me, I hope you remember when you decide to have an affair with Mary and Mary, because that's coming, that your husband, who has been by your side, is on your side. And I just feel like this whole scene is setting her up to be depressed. So then she's going to make poor choices. And okay. So the next scene, she's outside talking to her mother-in-law, who's always a pain in her ass and always, you know, who, by the way, I actually like her. She reminds me of a female version of Anthony. I would love to see those two in a room together. They have the same quirky, quick-witted one-liners. That would be great, but no, they won't do that. So she's outside of the funeral home talking to her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law gives her some solace, about the fact that she was not there at the moments of his death. And she mentioned that normally happens when they don't want them to see them at their last moments. They want them to be remembered in a much better light, the soul. And I can see that. I didn't see my grandmother before she passed away. And I am not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Hold it back. Hey, it worked. See? I'm not going to cry. Yet. So I got that reference, it hurt me. It still hurts me today that I didn't get to say goodbye to her. And she was the one that really raised me. So that was emotional. Wow, I'm getting through this without crying. That is a big feat. And that was it. There goes LTW's storyline. She got a theatrical funeral send-off to her dad that we've only seen once. And I think that she may have a love child brother somewhere from this producer chick. Or she's got a whole bunch of Michael Kors bag stuffed with skeletons and bones in her closet. It can go either way. It really can. Because this story just keeps going anywhere. Where it stops, nobody knows. And then it goes to circus, people. Okay. Are you ready for the top 3 tier ding-dongs? Well, it's coming. Next up, Miranda. Ding-dong number 3. Miranda. Miranda's a real ding-dong in this one. Okay? It's not too long, so I should be able to get through this quickly. She is somehow, from last episode, she is officially moved out of her BFF's home over a yogurt banana table spilling naked rendezvous episode. That's what happened. Go look at my other video if you want to understand what the hell that means if you haven't seen it yet, okay? Because I cannot go through that again. So apparently, she's staying with BBC girl, Joy, until she finds a home. She wakes up to BBC girl's dogs staring at her. Not creepy at all. They're not vicious dogs. At least I don't think so. I don't know if they can turn on a dime and just bite her face off. If only God would let that happen. And she's been staying there with her until she finds a place, because Seema's looking for a place for her. And she found, BBC girl comes in and serves her tea. not crumpets, just tea. And they're just bantering along about she can stay with BBC Girl as long as she likes. And Miranda stands up for herself and say, no, I don't want to be one of those typical lesbians that move in together after the first hello. Does that really happen? I don't know. So BBC Girl is happy to hear that, and she's happy that Seema's showing her places. The next scene, Miranda asks her to meet her son Brady. So we have not moved in, but we're staying overnight with dogs and tea to meeting her son. Okay. I don't know how long this is all happening because we have a time frame. It has been at least 3 months, but I don't know how much time has passed yet. So now BBC Girl says, sure, I'll meet your son. The next scene you have is with Miranda and Seema, which I touched upon, that she's loving this 2-bedroom apartment, but refuses to go above asking. Got it. On principle. Sure. The next scene you have is her in the bread restaurant of Anthony. Seema comes in and shows her a condo option, but doesn't allow pets. And automatically, within a time frame of a New York minute, for lack of a better word, she expresses to Seema her concerns because Joy has 2 dogs that she's very attached to, and she wants to be able to have Joy over with her pets. And everybody at the table is like, well, we've moved up. Sure. Could have been a month, 2 years, I don't know. Sure. I don't know the progression of this, but the whole point of this to me is, did she put a ring on it? You're basing your entire future on BBC Girl, but I don't know where your relationship is. Do you see that this is a running theme in this show? Like and Miranda, the most cynical person of them all. Well, she used to be. I don't know what's going on with her now, but obviously she wants to have more joy in her life, and she wants to make sure that she can stay in a place where her dogs, and I just feel that this BBC chick has got something up her sleeve. Like, is she permanently here in the United States, or is she located somewhere else and she's only here temporarily? I'm going to go back to, why are people not asking questions when they get into these relationships or pseudo relationships? It could be me. Could be me. I might be the problem. I think I may ask too many questions. I mean, because I'm normal and I want to know who I'm getting involved with, and, make sure that he's not a murderer. It's just simple questions. Quick background check. No biggie. I just want to know. And nobody asks. They just jump into these ridiculous scenarios that I'm like, did she? Okay. So Seema is frustrated again, saying, listen, you got 2 options. Either the condo or the whisper listing that you can make an offer over $150,000 from asking. That's it. She's done. It's over. And she has until Friday to figure it out. Okay? She introduces BBC Girl to her son Brady. BBC Girl, while they're waiting for Brady outside of a restaurant, says that she's a little hesitant on meeting children or humans. I couldn't remember. Honestly, I can't. because she doesn't know if it's her, or if they like her, or if she doesn't like them. She's always on the fence. I would question that a little bit. I would just ask more questions if I were you. Miranda, didn't you study law? Girl, I mean, she went from going crazy for hot dogs to like being completely stupid over kitty cats. Y'all know what I'm talking about, and I will not use that other frame of reference. And if you don't know why I'm calling them kitty cats, you check out my other video. I will not reference it. They're kitty cats. Subscribe. So listen, as they're waiting outside, and then Brady shows up, and then he falls in love with the two dogs. And now all of a sudden, because he wants to pet the two dogs, BBC girl says, I'm not on the fence. I'm glad I met him. And yeah. Is she going to introduce her to Steve? I wonder. Because they're moving in together. Whether it's BBC's apartment or Miranda's, they're together now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's it. The next scene you have is her talking to Seema at the funeral and telling Seema that she wants to make an offer on the Whisper listing at over the $150,000 asking. And Seema almost fell off her shoes hearing this. Finally, she's making commission, and asked why did she want to do that. And she goes, because I want to bring more joy to my life. Yeah, that's it. So she's bringing more joy to her life. She's moving into an over asking Whisper listing so she can have BBC and her dogs come and visit for whatever amount of time that we won't find out until at the last minute when something blows up, and then they figure out, hey, we need to fill this plot hole. So let's figure this out. Good job. Are you ready for ding dong number 2? Great. Charlotte. Oh boy, Charlotte. Get ready. Ding dong number 2. Charlotte. Charlotte is about to crack. Rightfully so. First thing you see Charlotte in, I want to say, is this one right here, where she's walking in the New York City street. She's walking to Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital. And I'm going to tell you this. That outfit is stunning, okay? She looks amazing. She looks normal. The bag, the dress, that it's something I would totally wear. That's me. That's my style. You want to know my style? That's it right there. Whoever that was that dressed her, and there was a few other outfits, like Seema's brown outfit with Miranda, even Miranda's outfit in the apartment. I think that the people who styled that first group in the first 10, 15 minutes of the show were not the original ones. Maybe the original ones were on break and these guys stepped in. Maybe the other ones were on vacation. Whoever did the styling for the first 15 minutes of the show, those are the people that we need to keep on, except for LTW. They really just need to figure out what they're going to do with that girl. It's just too much. But there was the outfit of Miranda, Seema, who's still in brown, but it was a pretty decent outfit. And now she looks amazing. She looks beautiful. You know, it's not overdone. It's not, I mean, yeah, the heels are much, because again, I'm going to say this. People in New York City do not wear heels walking up and down the street. I don't give a shit who you are. Okay. Unless you're walking from your car to your door, maybe one of up or 2 blocks, they're not doing it. But it's a show, so we'll go with it. It's an ensemble. So, you know, they're not going to show her with sneakers or flats, which I would love to see her in flats, to be honest with you. So she bumps into, oh my God, Mitzi Pimpalong. Oh God, she's still around. And if you've watched season 2 of my review when Mitzi Von Pimpalong was trying to pimp Carrie to some guy, that's why she's nicknamed Mitzi Von Pimpalong, okay? Why is she still on the show? Oh my God, please. So she tells Charlotte, oh, do you know someone with the big C? Because Charlotte is going there because of Harry, of course. And of course, since Charlotte can't say anything about, Harry, she's making up a story to Pimpalong and that she's there to volunteer. And that, Pimpalong says, oh, should I volunteer too? Because she's supposedly of the elite. Blah, 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 blah. Tiffany's, blah, 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 blah. I didn't get an invite, blah, 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 blah. Okay, goodbye. See you later. Even if I watch the show 50,000 times, blah, 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 blah will still be part of this script. Okay. Next scene with Charlotte. She's walking out of the Memorial Sloan Kettering with Harry, who I presume was having an appointment there, and they're going over what the doctor said, which, by the way, thank you. At least now I have some context. So he is going for treatment, and his options are either irregular bowels movements or ED. And he's just, concerned, and he doesn't know what option he should take. And, Charlotte is trying to be supportive. She's not having a nervous breakdown, trying to tell him everything's going to be okay. Because now she has to say everything's okay. And he says, maybe I just want to get surgery to get it out. And she goes, whatever you want, I'll be here to support you. And they put their heads together. And I think I'm the only one that doesn't remember this. And I don't know if this is an OG thing or this is a new thing, or I may have missed it because I blacked out and erased memories because I remember the show. And as soon as I'm done with these videos, I take a pill to forget it. Did I say that out loud? He calls her Pollyanna. Is that new? Can someone comment below? Have we done this before? I don't remember. So the next thing you have with them is after Charlotte gets the news from LTW about her father passing, it hitting Charlotte really hard. Harry on the couch watching, I am assuming or presuming, the Mets game again. And this is his thing. We've known that this is his thing since Sex and the City, where the whole, she made the whole dinner and she went nuts and he went nuts and he was wanting to watch the game. Yeah, we're still back at this again. And which means that after 20 years, we don't know this already, that leave the man to his game. That's all he wants to do. He's not running around. He's not in the street. He's not, watching pornography. That's his dad, Papa. He just wants to watch the freaking game. Leave him alone. So she gets all emotional because she's afraid, because apparently, LTW's father was 90 years old, but he was in good health and he died suddenly. And as Harry said, well, he was 90 years old. So, okay, can I watch the game? And she's going on and on about we have to live every moment. And she's starting to freak out. And he's like, listen, woman, everything's fine. I want my Pollyanna back. And for the love of God, can I watch the freaking game? Pretty much in those words. And she sucked it up. She got up. She left him alone. And that's it. The next time we see Charlotte and Harry is, and if I missed the scene, I'm sorry, but that's all I can, well, there's one more, but not with Charlotte and Harry. So the next thing you have with Charlotte and Harry is at the funeral for LTW's father at the theater. I don't know. You figure it out. And as LTW is saying her eulogy, you can see that Charlotte's starting to cry and holding Harry's hand because it's a funeral. And, it's like what I said. Aging is a privilege, not a right. And whether you're 20 years old in good health and you pass away, or 90 years old in good health and you pass away, you're gonna pass away. Deal with it. It sucks. It really does. I've lost. Not going to cry. So they're upset. And the next time you see them, not them, that's the last time you see them together listening to LTW's eulogy for her dad. So the next thing you see with Charlotte is that I guess I'm going to call it, I don't think it's Rite Aid or CVS. It's like one of those kind of CVS, Rite Aid, whatever they have there. And you have Carrie looking to buy stuff, Tums, because she has an upset stomach, which we'll get into shortly. And Charlotte is there. I guess it's not in her area. So, Carrie is surprised to see her. And she's holding Adult Depends. And Carrie is befuddled, which, again, because she's not allowed to speak to her BFFs. Of course she is. And she walks over to Charlotte. And Charlotte is saying that she is doing this. And she finally let it out. She finally said to her best friend since the beginning that Harry has prostate cancer and that's the why reason she's been acting crazy and that, this is killing her and she can't say anything to please forget it. And, oh my God, this is not an emotional moment. Shit. I'm not going to stop recording because I can't keep doing this. Okay. I'm not going to stop and record. This is long enough. So Carrie says, you can tell me whatever you need to tell me. I will be your vault. And she let it out. Charlotte let it out. Right there in front of the aisle of, I guess, I'm going to call it CVS. She cried. Carrie held her. And I felt so relieved for her. Oh my God, I got to stop. And it was good. It was good. I'm glad that they finally allowed her to say something. Okay, so there's traction happening, right? So everything that I was moaning and groaning about in the last, since the show started, there's growth there. So I'm glad that they allowed her to express herself. Harry needs help. It's his turn to let it out. He needs friendship, not just, Pollyanna. And it was a good scene. I mean, hey, guys, sickness and illness and anything like this, lean on the people that you need to lean on. It is hard. So I'm going to wipe my tears and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do ding dong number 1, Carrie. Oh my God. I've got to wipe my tears for that one because that one, oh my God. I'm like, what the bloody hell? Okay. So that one's going to be part 2. The Carrie Chronicles, ding dong number 1. So thank you for putting up with me. I'm not crying per se for the show. It's just that I just remembered something that hit me really hard. So